Fellow Democrats, good evening. And thank you, Lon, for your leadership. And welcome to our chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, for your leadership in Congress as well as with the Democratic National Committee. A special acknowledgement to Monica, General Holifield's widow. I worked with General. He was a dear friend, and the name of the game is always here, jobs. And General understood that. Janet Blanchard is with me tonight. We've been to many of these dinners over the years, and thank you for your patience. Tonight, I think you know, is a special moment in Michigan Democratic Party history. In Michigan history, actually in American history. We have the honor and privilege to thank two men who've given together more than 100 years of their lives to public service to our country. Of course, I speak of Carl Levin and John Dingell, our two champions for the common good. What a blessing they have been to our country and to our state and our party. And I know all of you appreciate that. I do especially. I've worked with them for 4 decades. In fact, in my case, I worked with them in Congress and then later as governor and ambassador. And specifically during the first Chrysler rescue in 1979, John Dingell was a guiding light for me, and Carl was a trusted ally. Now they're strong supporters of the new international trade crossing right here between Detroit and Windsor, the new bridge. And when I say they have given more than 100 years of their lives to public service to our country, I checked. 95 of those years were in the U.S. Congress. 95 years representing us in Washington. That is 69 years longer than Andrew Jackson and Thomas Jefferson combined. Think about that. And by the way, there is no truth to the rumor that John Dingell served with Thomas Jefferson. I thought you'd like that. However, they are both avid sportsmen and passionate supporters of the Second Amendment. Right, John Dingell? And speaking of the Founding Fathers, Carl, with his glasses balanced on his nose, he often thinks of himself as a reincarnation of Benjamin Franklin. However, Franklin was a womanizer in Paris, and that's not our Carl. But we think, like Franklin, Carl is a very wise man. Both Carl and John were raised in families who believed in public service and our American way of life. Interestingly, the Dingell and Levin families were intertwined many, many decades ago. John actually worked as an aide to United States Circuit Judge Theodore Levin, Carl and Sandy's uncle. To give you a sense of the experience of John Dingell, it was December 8, 1941, when President Franklin Delano Roosevelt responded to the Japanese attack in Pearl Harbor before the U.S. Congress in a very famous speech, The Day That Will Live in Infamy. John was a page in the House, standing there watching that historic moment. And like a patriot, he enlisted in the Army. John Dingell, longest-serving member of Congress in U.S. history, almost 60 years. Carl Levin, longest-serving senator in Michigan, history, 36 years. And of course, their public service began even before that. I mentioned John was in the Army. He also worked as an assistant prosecutor in Wayne County. You may not know that Carl was counsel to the Michigan Civil Rights Commission for many years, and later, as some of you know, a member of the Detroit Common Council, now called City Council, and eventually president of the Detroit City Council. You're going to see some very wonderful videos about Carl and John tonight and their wonderful record. I've been thinking about what I would say to the younger people here who we need desperately for the future of our state and our country, and we're delighted that you're here. What are the qualities that John and Carl possess that have made them so outstanding and so special. And I made a list of just 10, there are many. Here's 10 qualities that they have. For one, complete integrity. 2, enormous energy. 3, a dedication to the common good. 4, a mastery of the issues and policies and a great understanding of history. 5, they are not intimidated or cowed or impressed by wealthy and powerful people, but they're willing to deal with them. 6, they successfully work across the aisle. 7, they believe in good government and a proper role for government. 8, they are loyal to the people of our state and our country. 9, they are loyal to their wonderful wives, Barbara Levin and Debbie Dingell. And 10, they are also loyal to the institution of the United States Congress. I speak in its traditions, and I speak of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. They also know that if we elect people who think government is bad, then they will do bad things in government. Think about that one. And you know, my fellow Democrats, aren't you tired of people who say they love America but hate our government and undermine our president and question where he was born? They say they love America, but they work to undermine our democratic institutions. And aren't you tired of candidates who claim religion as their inspiration and turn around and treat our fellow citizens with discrimination and disrespect? Carl and John love America, and they want our government to work for everyone. They believe in the goodness of our fellow citizens and justice for all. And by the way, John and Carl can offer sound bites like the best of them, but they don't do cheap shots against others. You can clap. How refreshing it is to have as our two champions these two leaders who are so worthy of emulation and celebration. Their lives are a celebration of lifelong dedication to public service. We will not see their likes again. Thank you, John. Thank you, Carl, my friends. Thanks for everything. You are not just great men. You are good men. Thank you.